better for us to collect the customer on a Thursday. But we agreed on a Tuesday, so you cannot just switch. You need to agree with the customer. Is that possible to do that? Yes, Chris?
Since I'm relatively new, right? Like in the abstract, I understand garbage collection and the containers. I've had a container myself as well. What I'm hoping for a little bit, especially out of this meeting, and I saw like a table with a couple of customers, 2nd of March, and I saw Wielenmaker being on top there with a red text, right? So what I'm hoping to get out of this meeting as well is to get information about the relevance and the connection to what we have in our user interface. So I see a couple of tabs. I was able to find afvalbeheer and LMA, the thing that you mentioned. So I'm trying to see, okay, what kind of these, what do we support in our system when it comes to, for example, specifically this customer, and where's the gap?
So if I've done this intro, I'll switch to the UI, and then I'll touch upon where the lines of business comes to the solution. So it's a good one, and we'll get there. So yeah, this is the sequence optimization, and here most of the time you make really contractual agreements, or 2 times per week we are going to empty your container for a fixed fee or for an emptying per container. These trucks, some of them have weighing capacity on the truck itself from Welvaarts or from iWeighing. So there we can, in the driver app, already fetch the weight at that moment, which might be used to charge the customer per kilogram for the waste we collected. Payment here can be done so either by the amount of containers collected, the weight collected, and most common is of course a monthly fee based on the amount of visits per week. And on top of that, most of the time the customer is still charged for a rent of this container if it's supplied. And then transport is something we offer in terms of when you deliver sand or non-waste, where there is less regulation and where the pricing is mainly done based on still could be like if you deliver sand, it's a amount of cubic sand delivered. But you also see a lot of fixed fees or hour-based transport, where in the driver app we would then ask the driver to give some input there. Now for these 3 lines of business, as we call them, so route, skip, and transport, we have no customers live yet, and the first one will probably go live from the 1st of March or 2nd of March. And that's maybe also something that's due to the monthly reporting to the LMA, it is fairly common to have a go live on the first day of a month, because it makes the reporting much easier, because otherwise only one of the 2 systems can report for a certain month, and we have to manually do the reporting for the other system. If we now look at Afvalzorg, and the other one is Zandrecycling. Those are 2 customers which are actively using the solution live in production. Afvalzorg since end of May, Zandrecycling since August, September, something like that. And there you see it's just a facility, so they don't own the trucks. But people start bringing or collecting materials there. So their main use of the system is around the weighing facility that we support. So weighing in, weighing out, registering it, and then reporting it and charging it. And on that, and that's why it was easier for us to go live with this customer at first, because we didn't need to have a planning solution. We didn't have to have subscription charging, rent charging, contract-based order generation. So they are live. We're still bringing them additional features. There are still some gaps, but they can work with the system on a day-to-day basis. They can invoice the customers. They can report to the government, etc. So they can use the system to the full extent. Still some areas where still lacking a bit, and a lot is also just generic feature improvement. So at least
they can work with it with Mike as a software backup, right?
Oh, he's a Chinese interface. So, a Chinese interface we have. Yeah. No, so what was underestimated because we brought in quite some validations, and Afvalzorg does a lot of corrections, which was really unclear to us when we started the project, and that still is a pain for us. The amount and the type of corrections they want to do, and therefore data is sometimes wrongly created or recreated. So that's a challenge there.
Corrections, like corrections in, for example, the weight and stuff?
Correction in weight, or that they register the weighing on a wrong customer, that they choose a wrong article, they selected the wrong waste stream number, that they started weighings, not completed weighings. What's also important to mention here, and Afvalzorg using is, and in the Netherlands you have a system called EBA. So that's an electronic guidance letter officially, but it's somebody can via the EBA protocol send in basically an order, a weighing that they will deliver something tomorrow to you. And then you have a flow there that they can cancel it, pull it back, or update it. And there also sometimes goes wrong that the user in the weighing list selects a wrong or a different order and starts weighing on the wrong one. And it's hard to prevent that on the front end, on the start of the flow, on the user entry. Only when you do, for instance, license plate registration or an additional checks, you could prevent things like this. And sometimes just you think it's a construction waste, but it's actually different due to the analysis you do, and then you have to report it as a different type of waste.
Is this one of the scenarios where people log into the database to correct things manually in the database?
Yes. So when the credit flow isn't done correct, when there's locations done, and we could argue whether that's correct or not. Sometimes stuff had to be changed, and it's like 500 records or 200 records, and then we did it for them directly in the database, so they don't have to do 200 objects single-handed in the front end. So that's.
Is it for this just out of curiosity, because I'm trying to connect it to tickets, for example. Do we have like a concrete list or backlog of these kinds of things?
Partially, yes. In the back of our head, for sure. But for instance, we are struggling still to keep pace with creating a good amount of backlog tickets well described. Right now, we're still running a bit behind. So we know we have to do some improvements for credit flows, for instance, do some bulk credit options, etc. The developer is ready to start. We are not ready with our specs, just as sort of an example one.
So just what if those specs would come in hindsight? Because I think it starts with a complaint or with a question, right? That's perfectly fine. That's where we have refinements for. Like we can actually ask you for the specs when we have the capacity or when the priority is given over other things. For example, So just having it somewhere as a reference, a list of things that need to be done on a very high level would really be helpful, especially for people that join as a new person. Say, these are the top priorities, sorted based on the first one that has to be onboarded, for example.
Yeah, and that's difficult because priorities tend to switch here on a day-to-day basis, if not
That's
more
perfectly
often.
fine. Yeah, perfectly fine.
But we have, and I'm the one partly lacking here as well. I'm unable to keep pace and keep my planning up to speed. We have 2 boards. One is the Remondis, Netherlands, where we specifically know what we need to do. And we have a calendar. No, what's timeline is maybe better. So here we know exactly what we need to do for them, although not everything is spec'd yet. This is separate track, or no, not separate track, but a separate agreement with this customer. We got additional funding from them to deliver this, but it will go just in the generic solution. So it won't be custom development, but it is funded by them. So that's why we have a special track for it. So that's one roadmap that you can look at what we need to do. Some just have a one-liner, and some have some specs already functional, and some might even have technical ones. Then we have the here's a false one. The generic waste development one here. So I would probably need to exclude. That's not easy right now. Maybe I can do it here. So the Remondis one is in here as well. I actually would need to exclude it. So here we also have all the items that we want to do high level. So we know, let's give you some examples. We want to, invoice templates are still done by developers. For quote weighing note, we can now do it in the front end. So the invoice templates we also want to do in the front end. The code rule version 1 we have right now is not flexible enough, so we need a version 2. We want some additional documents for international and national transport, things like that. So there is definitely something.
Yeah, this is already good enough, right? And because I think in this overview and this timeline as well, you should be able to drag those. So depending on yeah, so it's like it doesn't matter if these priorities shift. That's the advantage of an internal team, right? We are here. If tomorrow you decide, shit, we need to change focus, we need to bring in that customer, or that deadline is absolutely crucial to us, we're here, right? So it's just
sorry, this is not a good one. Confluence. And the one you are talking about, if not everybody is aware of it, is I think this one, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
So here, for instance, Riedemaker is high priority because it's was one of our first customers 2.5 years ago. So it's waiting a long time for a solution. Was a long time in bad shape, and we turned it around. And since let's say end of last year, beginning of this year, the mood is turned again, and they are positive, and that's why they were willing to set a go live date again. So the 2nd of March means go live for them to start testing. The actual go live of using it in production would be the 1st of May. But we are still struggling with priorities because we want actually some customers to go live, really live with the system on the 2nd of March. And there we have then sometimes some conflicts, whether is that feasible or not, and what should we give priority or not.
And is there like some of these items that, because the go live, it depends on things being finished, right? So where can I find that list? I would love to
per customer
get the insight on it. Yeah.
So
well, maybe not per customer. Could be
but
feature could be spanning customers, but at least the ones that are, for example, for the 2nd of March would be, if I have that top of mind.
Okay, so let's for you. So each customer should be a project here with a planning, ideally. We're not there yet fully, but we're getting very close. So the consultants go out, they go to customers, they identified gaps, etc. they create a ticket, and the AI
nice.
or the rules converts it to a ticket for me or for us internally on the product side, which becomes an ESS ticket, so an internal support ticket. That's then for me to judge what to do with it. So what you will see, and here we are struggling a bit with the priority, but let's leave that aside for now. But so there is a connection. I know this is for Vink. It's an internal request. So he created a ticket on Vink. He put a label on it, and that's why it's here. Now I need to judge it. I need to plan it. And when I think, yes, I can pick this up, I will create a ticket for development. That's an EWB ticket. And then that one, then that one will show up here. So now they will all be connected. So from the project via the internal support desk to the development, the tickets are linked to each other. So if you complete one, then the project also knows, hey, now this I can test this. What I will do on the actual ticket, and I think this is a bad example because it's this was a generic bug reported. Let me see if I can show you. This is,
We maybe place this on the end of the meeting, maybe, because I would like to hear about the waste stuff and not about the organization for now.
Okay. Let me take that then at the end. But there's at least, so it's connected, and if you you can so you could search on AB, then you know which tickets are relevant for the AB project, and you should filter on the EWB and the internal support, because sometimes it's in internal support but not yet on the board. Okay, so then we have our solution. It's a web-based entry for our customers. Each customer is what we call a tenant, so it has a tenant ID, which means all the data in the database is linked to their tenant ID, and therefore we have separation between our customers. Our customers might have their own pool of customers, which, well, they will have their own pool of customers, of course, where they get the orders from, etc. And they might want to expose part of the solution, and maybe she will put it to English just to be a bit friendly. That's what we call the customer portal. So that's a part of the area specifically for the customers of our tenants, our customers, where they can see some reporting, and we're extending that, where they can request orders, where they can have some reports, see their invoices, etc. In general, now I have a lot of additional stuff here as well. Let's start here. A tenant needs at least one or multiple organizations, so that's defining their business setup. So if they are a single company, a single BV entity, it's just one organization, fine. But most of it, you see that the transport division of the company is another entity than the other one, and they want to do intercompany invoicing, so then you would have multiple ones. There we can also do some setup things like some default settings you want to set, default values, and how you want to communicate. And we're continuously extending this, and especially the settings will start growing because more and more some customers want a different flow than others. And this is Gen 2. So we just 2-3 weeks ago released generation 2 of user management, which means that we can now have roles that have read, write, update, and delete rights per permission group that is that you set to it. So before we could only just give permission enabled or disabled, and now we can do more fine-grained. We have auxiliary permissions or special permissions where which we will create based on some specific needs. For instance, prices is something that some users should never see, while others are allowed to see it, or some users are allowed to see it but not update it. And we will have more of these auxiliary or special permissions. So we're at the end state of testing this Gen 2 version, and we're getting there. And then let's see. Here you can compare the multiple rows and what's the difference, etc. Users are well, technically connected to TDS and Keycloak, but this is all database driven. At least one customer will be using single sign-on, and soon others as well. So there we will connect to the IDP provider from the customer as well. But yeah, you set up your organization, and then you start with accounts. So that are the customers that you want to serve. Most of the time you see that accounts and at least invoices will be connected to another system. Most of the time, at least a bookkeeping system. For most customers, we are in the lead, so we are the source of creating an account, and if we create an account, we send it to the financial system and we create it there as well. In some cases, an account is created in an external system and then it's sent to us and we create it. It's better to do it like this. What's common in the Netherlands is that an account, so a commercial customer, is registered as at the Chamber of Commerce, so you can look up. So we are connected to the Chamber of Commerce, and we can look them up. These are all inactive ones. These are active. These can also be excluded from the filter. Then you do the validation, and we pre-fill the data. And this customer we already have registered, so it makes no sense to do it again. And what's important is that we have some different types. That indication is very important for us for the waste reporting. So a charter, a transporter, is allowed to transport the waste, but not process it or dispose it. So based on this, we do filtering and validations throughout the systems. So if I'm not a processor, I will never be shown as a processor later on in flows. Intermediary and trader are very close connected, but the one owns the waste at some part of the flow, the other doesn't. And most of the accounts will just be a disposer and customer. We need some stuff here around for invoicing. Here the setup is not so great, so it's not pre-filled. But we need to know the standard invoice ID, the payment terms, the how to invoice. So is it via email? Is it electronically? Each month, each day, and what's the default currency? We connect most of the time an account person, so that's an internal person, the sales guy who is responsible to it, and we can register the contacts of the account, so we know which people are working there and are sort of relevant to the tenant. And each location, so each facility of our clients, of the accounts, is registered individually. Because there we register where waste will be collected or sent to. For the address, we are integrating with postalcode.eu, I think. So an external service. where you can look up an address. And this service supports a number of countries. And then we reverse geocode it. You also see here the container tab. So that's the one that's important for route-based and skip-based, so that we know which containers have been or are currently there on that location. Also, I could, oh, nice one. Better not do it in development environment, maybe. What's also good to know is that we have a generic solution for remarks. Let me put it to English again. So I can create a remark here, and I can state that this remark should show up during invoicing, planning, weighing for the driver or order. So when later on in the process the driver does something for this location, this remark will be visible for him. Same for documents, where we can upload the document and state whether it is for the driver or invoice or not. Customer interactions is new. We're still building on top of that, and that's let me put out the translation. It's now built from the quote module, which is a separate track building that. And there we can list contact moments, and we can also create tasks, etc. So there, if you had a email contact with a customer, you can register it here, and you can create a task for a certain employee to do something. Quotes, I will let somebody else do that part. So in order to be able to create orders, you need a contract, because the contract will tell us which organization will invoice it, will invoice the customer. It gives you validity. And in general, we're price list driven. So that means that prices has to be listed before. You can do any order creation. So prices have a valid date. You can set it to the certain lines of business. In this case, it's for all. So by default, our customer starts with populating all their price catalogs or price lists. And that means that if you create a contract or it's auto-created, the price list will be set. So we know if we create an order for this customer with this contract, what have we actually agreed with him that we can, which services can we offer? And we see the origin, so the prices could, so there is a hierarchy. So we could have a custom that's basically a client-specific price list, or some of the default price lists. A contract is normally for all locations, but can also be a specific location. So if you do the skip line of business, you basically only create a contract, and then you're good to go. If you do the route-based, so where you have a contractual agreement of on 2 times a week emptying a bin, you set up a wait, what did I took this bad example? You set up a contract item. In a contract item, you list your again, what type of article, so what type of waste, in which container, to which location, and from when will this contract start? So this agreement with the customer, and on which frequency will I empty the container? So in this case, once a week. So that means that I at least have a price for the, and this is a subscription collection. So I at least have a monthly price for collecting the bin, but I could also have some additional things that I want to charge. Plus, I need to have a collection line. So I need to connect it to a collection route, a base route. So in my system, I set up some, on Monday, I do this area, or on Monday, I have 3 trucks collecting paper. On a Friday, I have it, etc. And then here I can assign it. So if I would, let's see if I can break this one. No. So here, if I would add a collection line, another one, now there's a mismatch because it's saying, well, you want to visit this customer 2 times, but you only have an agreement for once a week. So you need to choose either one of the 2. So for the route-based collection, you would first set up this as well, your contractual agreements, and then you're also good to go. This then also automatically means that because we're collecting once a week and we have a start date, in the night we will generate automatically 14 days ahead the orders, because it is a contractual agreement, so we will do them and they will be planned on the routes already. And let me show that later. What we're currently are building, extending, but where we have the first use case served is dynamic pricing. So there in price list, the price is straightforward. You have a quantity equals the units with a price, and that gives you a price for an order line. But dynamic pricing then gives you the option to do formula-based pricing, or specific user input-based pricing. So not only the quantity, but a specific value the user sets, or based on a formula, we calculate the price. In this environment, I don't have, let's see if I have one here.
Wielemaker has, should have.
And then
no, maybe you
H.
should look in the H.
Nice zoom level. So here you actually also see, here I have a lot more items because it's I'm a super user in an environment where we show all the items. Here for Wielemaker, we only opened the items which are relevant for their line of business. Yeah. So here we have a different kind of formulas where we have expressions. So we have a variable or multiple variables, which gives you an input. And in this case, this is monthly price for paper. So each month you get a paper price from the market. They give you a high and low price, and then you could either do, for instance, the average or an uplift or a reduction of prices. So there's different formulas, and based on that, the price will be calculated. And we're going to support more and more here as well, based on the certain, I would call it sub-article, or the quality level, or things like that. So for Skip, for route-based, well, route-based not really, but for Skip, somebody would call and just tell you, I want to have my container. I want to have a big container in which I will put wood. Articles not mandatory. You can say already from where you want to deliver it. Here, because it's a placement, the waste stream is not needed. So it will look up the contract, and from the contract we know which organization will start to invoice it. You could set some dates. This is the date when we want to have it executed, but you could set some time between where and when we want to have this done. You can create multiple orders. I can put in a remark, and the remark is for the driver. And then the order should be created. And it should be visible for the driver as well. And the same, like if I open this one, this is a collection. So now the waste stream number is mandatory because you're going to collect waste. So that's important, that sentence. And here you see that we support multiple order lines. So by default, if you create one order, you will get one order line. However, in the activity setup, we can set that if you have this activity and in the price list you find another activity that's mentioned in the related activity list, we automatically add some additional order lines. So that they want, so they can do some detailed charging, but also some detailed registration towards the financial systems. So in this case, the customer just sort of for the transport and the handling, they have a fixed fee, 50 euros, but they also have to pay 192 euros per tonnage of waste. So that's later on done by the weighing. So these orders are created. They will show up in the planning. Here we have divided it for the lines of business because they are really specific. Of course, I don't have any shifts here or whatsoever. I think, Anthony, you will give another demo, right? And now we
yeah, I believe so at some point.
Yeah,
perhaps.
so maybe you can do this more in detail, this part.
Sure.
But in the end, this is your, here you have your order. So what you need to do. So the one I created is here for this date. I don't know their data in this environment that well, but let's see. I should have a shift. And let's do it today at 7 and it ends.
It should already be shipped through Udemaker, but.
Well, let me now just create one.
Mm-hmm.
It ends, we start at the depot, and I don't know which driver. Oh. And then it's annoying that we don't return to the planning page. So now I have a shift. So I could plan this on the shift. And that's how the planners will work with the system. So they will build up their routes. In this case, because it's a placement, we only have a customer visit. There's some information. So there is a remark on the order. And I can see the remarks. Why can't I see this remark, Anthony? Okay.
Where did you place the what?
Here you have a remark, but
where did you place the remark, on the shift or?
I don't know. It's fetched from somewhere.
I think it's a shift remark. So if you if you open the driver app, I think you should see the remark.
Well, maybe here it should also be visible, but yeah. In the end,
maybe if you
what's important here? Yeah, but now no clue. What's important here is that what we've done is you can do your planning, but you might not want to have it exposed yet to the driver. So what we'll do is here it's clearly visible, it's not green, so nothing is sent to the driver yet. It's hidden, and we can release it. So this one. If there's a lot of orders planned, you can multi-select and you can distinguish between, do I want to expose everything, only the first 5 stops or the first 5 orders, etc. In the end, I will release it. And now this one is visible for the driver and he can execute it. Let's leave that at Anthony for him to showcase. What's important is that this will become this will require a weighing, and let me go back in time because this was a placement, so this one doesn't have a weighing. But here, for instance, This was the one I opened, which was existent. So an order that requires a weighing. What will, if we have connections with the weighbridge, they will pop up here and give us the live weight of the weighbridge. The same in the driver app. If they are connected, we will get the live weight from there as well. And so you register your gross weight, then you empty. Normally you do this in 2 steps, but now for the sake of going a bit faster, what you see is actually, this is sort of the official letter the driver needs to be able to show when it's transporting waste. And this can be a complex one to fill out correctly. And that's why we have all the different account types to ensure that in this right section, we fill the right information. So I've now done the weighing in 1 step. So I create a weighing node so they can design this on their own. And you now also see that the weighing ticket is here. This is now registered. I could still add an additional charge for a mattress or a refrigerator or whatever. That would show up. Let me just do it as well. Now the next step, what they do is all those orders are executed, completed. But before they go to invoicing, there's a validation step. So an office user will validate the orders. And you could say that everything where there's no status icon or everything is green, you could here automatically approve. And that means approved to be invoiced. However, deselect, nice. Like it. And these icons are to help them to see if they need to inspect it or not. So here they're, it's easy like that. So we can tell them that it was a manual weighing. Normally it's from the weighing bridge. So if there's a manual weighing, that might be odd. So they want to inspect it. The driver did not execute it, or he executed it with an issue. So I might need to investigate it as well. Or the driver put a remark on it, or during the weighing we put a remark on it, or there's a photo on it. So those things you want to inspect. Here we at least have a price on each line, but maybe if it's yellow or red, then there are 0 prices on order line. So you might want to inspect it because we're not charging them. Dynamic pricing is applied, so you might want to inspect that because that's more complex, and you want to see, for instance, the EBA where I talked about where orders are sent in from external systems. Let's see if I can find the one I did. So this was the order we just completed. So here you see the surcharge is there, the quantity is there. From the weighing and the original one, there is the weighing information here. You can still inspect it. I can approve it now. And that means that I could now generate an invoice where, well, a proforma. So proforma is is a concept invoice where you can again inspect it. Let me just see which customer it was. Is Eco Software Solutions. So let's generate, so Eco, it is skip based orders, and let's see if it will work or not. Selected 2 months. So on the background, it will check which orders are approved, which subscriptions or rent or things are there. So it will look at those, and now it found at least this order. But it also saw that there is the surcharge, and here you actually see that we set up dynamic surcharges as well for certain activities. So that's also automatically added. We can preview it. So this will be the invoice for the customer. We can download the files. We can edit some of the things. And what's important here, for instance, the ledger. Here you know that these lines will be booked when we send it to the financial system. It will be booked on these ledger accounts for them. And that's also very important and a plus in our solution, what others don't offer. That we already ensure on our end that this should be booked on the right journals or ledgers in their accounting system. Yeah, I think I've spoken too much. So Anthony, you know what you can cover the next time?
I mean, we can just cancel my meeting, I guess, because she already spoke about everything.
You can still do planning, waste management, master data, setup data.
Of course.
What's maybe nice, but what we're still involving, let me still do that. Show you that quickly. That one I should better do here, not here, this one. So before we would set up the integrations in the database, but now together a consultant or the customer could set up their own integration to an external system. So here, the integrations we will support, we will add here. So they can themselves enable the account integration to AFAS. They just need to put in their API key and URL. Same for invoices. Some of these, like the Exact Online, requires an authentication, which is done here. So they one time or periodically needs to connect us to the system. Now this doesn't work because I didn't set Exact Online yet. We have some manual import or export, so file-based options. And what we're working on is for the data migration is that customers can make their import sheets, which we can then, they can download the specific sheet which they need to fill, and then they can upload it here, and then they can validate it or actually import it in the database directly. And what we have for each integration, we have the status of the integration. They can see in the front end. So in this environment, there's no integration active, but if it was active, we would then know if it's failed or was succeeded, and when the last time we tried to sync it. So they can see the state of the integrations also from the front end. Let me stop here then.
Any questions?
No. So it's now already past time. So that was the trick, huh? No. No, so shoot. If you have any questions.
Chris left the call, so we'll be short on questions.
Yeah, just small from the outside. What's missing for the guys you want to go live? What do they need additionally right now?
Or I think maybe not only it's mainly improvement to current flows what they're not really happy about. So we have some flows which are not perfect, like if the driver puts in a container number, they go visit and take the container back. It's not pre-filled, they need to fill it again. It's the credit flow is not robust enough yet. We support a number of credits, but still detailed bulk credit updates, or also changing the article or changing the contract or the account becomes very complex. So that we're not supporting well enough.
Okay, so more or less the flows are there, but not sugar, let's say, where you can change the stuff the user usually
I
wants
think,
to.
Anthony, we're not really missing any major flows again. It's more in the details now, right?
It's more, devil's in the details.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, the credit flow in in the basis, it works, right? However, then today, for instance, I was with a client just before his meeting, and they were testing rent, which has been added at the start of last month. And now we come to the conclusion, hey, we cannot credit rent activities, right? We are not able to select these in the generated invoices for correction. So these small items that, because we deliver so many new development items, are not thought about through the entire flow, because it touches every single part of the software. For instance, rent starts with a container and container tracking and rent events and then a generation. But then, oh wait, we didn't think about the correction flow, that we also needed to add this into it. So stuff like that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, and in general, what you see is each week we deliver between 50 and 80 items. So here it was 74, the week before 53, then it was 76 items, then, there was a nice one, 143 items. So the development train is running, and I think right now where we are we're hurting the most is, and on the front, speccing well in time the items required, and testing, because we did 4 production releases where at least half of the items were not tested by us. So, but we like living on the edge.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
No, but and that is because we want to have a high velocity, and we know that these 2 customers are in a very specific area of the solution. So we did, of course, focus on the items that are relevant for them. So they are not using container planning, etc. Some of the tickets are in that area. So if these are not tested, okay, you can't give it 100% certainty, but it should not affect them because they are not using those features. They are not using those screens, etc.
Okay.
Are these
again,
features
there is
also,
a risk.
Are these features also built into feature flag then, that we can turn them off for them right now? No. Okay.
No. So the only thing how we hide it for them is that we don't give them access to those pages. We hide the pages. But if they would start playing with the URLs, they can still access it.
Okay.
But for instance, if I mean, one of the missing developments that is needed, for instance, will touch the weighing screen, which is used by both, right? Because we will need to allow for container type and container selection for tare weighing. But now, if we were to release this, it would touch directly Zand Recycling and Afvalzorg in their flow. So we would need to find a way to perhaps turn these off.
That's one thing.
If we keep on going with this velocity, right, then they will be affected at some point.
They will, and if we go live with these customers on the 1st of May or 2nd of May, then we cannot be March. Sorry, then we cannot be so easy again about it, because they will be using the full system. So then we basically cannot do this. So at one moment we might need to turn down the velocity and go back to once every 2 weeks to give us time to test. So that's one topic. On the other hand, I understand what Anthony is saying, and we, where possible, need to feature flag. On the other hand, we are a SaaS solution, so and sometimes we cannot customize, and a customer sometimes just have to live with, there are fields that the customer is not using, but they are just there. Yeah. In these transaction pages, it's more of a thing, for sure. But on an account page, if you're not using the PO box, fine. But let's leave the PO field there. Yeah.
So those are not for that. It's also for if it's tested or not. So are the features that are being released for the customer?
Yes. Yeah. But
So
it's
that's
not
why the
like that
feature
we
flags
should
are
try
there.
to. No, and on that I agree. But we should not try to strive to make the entire solution fully customized for each customer by having
No,
each field
definitely
behind
not.
a feature flag. So we need
No,
it's a
true.
feature flag. It's not a field
Field flag.
flag.
No, I understand. So yeah.
Let's talk in a year, Arnaud. there will come
Sorry.
so much customizations.
Michael will go for the field flags.
Yeah, for sure. No. From the old application, we had over 1,000 feature flags. Okay, so
I understand, but we also have to be a bit.
Yeah.
We are.
No.
We want to be a
I'm on
SaaS
your
solution,
side.
right? So
Yeah.
we need to protect ourselves, and
Yeah.
and that's
Yes,
hard. So
for sure.
we are definitely we've done a lot where we can be proud of. Are we in a good shape? Maybe not. There's a lot of room for improvement. I think there's a lot of work for everybody. Ideally, we want to do a lot more, but time is not on our hands. And as mentioned before, priorities often switch. I do think we enriched the solution a lot, definitely the last 3-4 months, and I think Anthony can agree to that as well. And I think we are really close for those customers that needs the additional flows to go live as well. Will that be pain-free? No, not for the customer, not for us. But on the other hand, and there I agree with Nicola, the sprinting lead or architect or guru, wants to push us to bring customers live as soon as possible. Sometimes it's too soon. Sometimes you do need to take a leap in good faith, and because that gives you a good push to actually develop further. But it needs to be, of course, in a way that you believe that it can go live.
Yes. So are there a lot of features out right now that are not being tested that will be used 1st of March then?
Yes. And you can see that yourself. If you go, let's do it like this. So let's go. The space is EWB. Status is equal to ready for testing. Ready for testing. Mm-hmm. Let's remove that one. And then basically, because we just released production last night, these 249 items are in production and are not officially tested. Ooh. Now, some are behind the feature toggle. So everything that's from Nixa for the quote module, that's behind the feature flag. And for instance, here, the user management, if user management Gen 2 is not enabled in prod, which is not, it's safe. So it's not completely fair, but it is an indication.
Why are not all features behind the feature flag? So that has been released now. Is that because it's too complicated to implement the feature flag for it, or
it was never it was never in the guidelines towards sprinting. It was never pushed from us towards sprinting to do it, and never basically we never really had a discussion around it. Why should we do it or not? And maybe not every developer is common with it. But it could be one of the things, and that's probably for Harijs and Chris to also think about. Maybe we should actually push, and maybe showing an additional informational field without validation should not be behind a feature flag. But and an invoice template fix, etc.
Features should be behind the feature flag. That
yes,
I agree with that. So, and then we need to define what are features, of course, and what are not features. That are things that maybe are already in place. I don't know, but should be clear.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah,
that will be the question from what would be the good moment to review it. So it could be that if I create a EWB ticket and put it from backlog to ready for development. So basically, if I want to do that, that should be the moment to discuss internally, is this something that needs a feature flag or not? And if so, we need to put that in the requirement. And then we should have sort of a guidance how to put it in the requirement. Is it just stating this should be behind the feature flag, or should we be telling them more? I don't know that, but that could be a good,
separate matter with these number of untested features that land in production with or without feature flag. I've said it before, I'm saying it again and again because it's true. The development capacity, the organization has been scaled disproportionately without QAs for a long time, right? We're only getting QAs now lately, just 3, and the ratio of QA versus developer is vastly off, especially given the fact that developers are hugely boosted with AI. The amount code they output is insufficiently tested by QAs by any industry standard. So that's definitely a big also flag. Certain color.
I agree, and then it's actually really easy right now to just say to AI also implement the feature flag with it. So it doesn't really make it more complicated right now.
Well, yeah, maybe. I haven't done a deep dive into feature flags, but Chris also is very eager about it. So maybe we should do at least a little investigation. What can we do about that? In short term,
because it's for my cloud perspective. If you have CI/CD, so you want continuous development in the integration, feature flags is a safe tool so that you're certain that if someone builds thing, it doesn't break in production, and you can just deploy real time. It's one of the things you need. With unit testing and all other things.
Yeah. So for instance, here are 146 items that are selected for development. So that are not started yet, but are in backlog to be, or are in near vicinity scope to be taken by a developer. So the start would be to review these and which ones are relevant for a feature flag and which are not. So this is, for instance, making a field mandatory. Yeah, probably not. Pre-fill also not. The create location flow, that's already a flow. So you want to have could be bugs, probably not. Do you want your bug file solved? Then I need to enable feature flag, and it will cost you.
Of course not. With enhanced creation location flow, so there should be already a feature flag in place for the creation location flow right now. And maybe if you want a new flow next to it, an enhanced flow, then you can have 2 flows. But if it's not, then yeah.
So that's maybe also that we need to review what's already there and put it still behind the feature flag. So yeah. To be honest, again, and that's I don't know. So this could be something that we could do again. Yeah, due to time pressures, etc. And there's a lot on people's plates. How do we ensure that this is not just only a good idea, but that we put it in place? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something where we probably need some guidelines internally. Yes. And we could start by going through this list, but yeah. So yes,
we should have a meeting about it. Maybe Haris maybe can, if he has time, take a look at that. Or I can also help, of course.
Yeah, I need to. If we can have a bit of insight of how exactly our feature flags are set up, how good they are, and do we see them in the long run the same way, or we want to upgrade? Because Chris has some experience in Brenntag. He was quite enthusiastically talking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something to prioritize and actually look into faster than later.
I don't know actually whether the feature flags are the same as the release toggles.
Yeah, the transient. You have the transient toggles, right? You mean that one?
Yeah, I'm now in a platform config, but this seems a bit limited.
No, I know that. Maybe Anthony knows it. There's a page where you can see in dev support at the top. You have a button called dev support.
Yeah.
Go up more.
Okay.
Dev support.
UI toggling, I think, right?
Yes, and then UI toggling, the other one. Now you're at easy translations.
Yeah, here it is.
Where? Is it this one, the transient release toggles?
Yeah, transient release toggles. Yeah, so here you can manage per tenant, which feature needs to be released or not.
Per tenant, per environment.
I heard per tenant from.
Yeah, but it's if I do it here, then it's not in K, right? Enabled. So I also need to go to K. But if you look at this list, and if you put 100 release toggles, then this will not be a very effective. Well,
no, of course not. You will eventually also, once it's released, remove the toggles once it's activated. That's also a process that needs to be there. That comes later on. But first, in the first place, you need them to be there, and then you will think about removing the release toggles also. Yeah.
But I think they are per tenant. That's a given. I think they are even per environment, which probably makes sense because if I don't. Yeah. So you have this one, but there's also the other one that I showed here.
For the pages, you mean, to showing which pages you have in the menu?
The release toggles. So what is this? Then is that something we could use as well? And then what you're talking about is the UI toggles, but that's just enabling or disabling
pages.
A certain pages or
menu items. Yeah. Right. Now the release toggles are another way of feature toggles. That's I also discussed it with Nicola. He told me about it, but he said you don't want to use those because those are not that how do you say reliant, because if you toggle them that way, it can take a moment before all features are disabled or enabled at the same time, and it will can cause issues maybe, because then some features are activated and the others are not, and they rely on each other, and if that won't work, then it will crash or something. That's what he said to me. It's not really built well. That's what he told me. So that's why they want to use the other transient toggles.
Okay.
That's the normal way.
Yeah, sounds valid. All right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it went a little bit longer than I thought, but of course, there's so much more to talk, right? And digress to do. So, enormous thanks for doing this, Arnoud, explaining. I'm gonna have a recording. Also make a summary of the transcript, so somebody can read it if they want to, like a short summary. We definitely need this kind of awareness and education of the product in engineering. So otherwise we don't know what we're building, even me. So you never have time to actually look and ask, because there's always something on your plate and some firework that needs attention. So thanks a lot, everyone, for attending, and stay tuned for the next week. Have the same time, different topic.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.